Hey, tervetuloa. Welcome to this episode of the International Business from Finland podcast with me, Mark Wiltshire, where I take you behind the scenes of my solo enterprise or toiminimi in Finnish, working with directors and business owners of Finnish companies, sharing your workload so you can focus on growing your business. And before I start this week's episode properly, I just wanted to say hello and thank you to Tapio and Henry, who both took the time to answer the question I asked in the previous episode about the best translation for the Finnish words emäntä and isäntä. And I'm paraphrasing what Henry said here, but semi-quoting, a very much tongue-in-cheek translation would be master or mistress inside the house for emäntä, and master outside the house for isäntä. Neither mistress or master are really as punctual or compact as the Finnish words, nor do they emphasise the equality of the two, or the hope of it. To better explain myself, Henry says, I'll tell about a wooden plaque I remember seeing a few decades ago in my schoolmate's home, in which he said, "In this house, the master has the final word." Yes, dear. Quite right too, Henry. Thanks for sending that. I think you helped me get my head around this question. So on with the show proper. This week I'm going to give a little update on something I mentioned back in episode 6, which was integration evaluations for international students, or a WIISE decision. And this was the episode where I first mentioned the Work Integration for Immigrant Service, or WIISE. The International Business from Finland podcast with Mark Wiltshire. Talking international sales, entrepreneurship, and making connections between Finnish companies, entrepreneurs, and workers migrating to Finland. Etelä-Pohjanmaan WIISE ry needs a logo. First of all, let me remind you of what WIISE is, and the following is taken from our new website, wiise.fi. Quote, Etelä-Pohjanmaan Work Integration for Immigrant Service, WIISE, is a membership association, or yhdistys in Finnish, which aims to develop and maintain a positive ecosystem in Etelä-Pohjanmaa, in which immigrants and Finns who move to the area can thrive, in which they integrate into working life and settle into everyday life. And I'm going to cover the reasons for the launch of WIISE in a later episode in a bit more detail. We are, however, launching the association officially in October 2020, and ahead of the launch, it needs a logo, and we would like our members and followers, and my listeners and viewers, to help us with the design. So about this design competition. Etelä-Pohjanmaan WIISE is for every kind of muuttajat. Muuttajat means a person who moves. So WIISE is not only for immigrants or maahanmuuttajat. Our membership is inclusive. So it's also open to Finns who move. They're just muuttajat. Moving from another region, for example, within Finland, and also remigrants returning to Finland after living overseas. You've been away for a long time, 10 or 20 years, then moving back even to your homeland can seem like it's a new exotic land, and you don't have the same networks that you maybe had when you were living here previously. By becoming a member of WIISE, everyone can help create an ecosystem where migrating workers contribute to the development of this region. Individuals get help to integrate, start businesses, potentially find workplaces, and they can also attend the regular networking meetings that WIISE will organise, where they get to meet other individuals, other entrepreneurs, business owners, and maybe even make just friends. I mean, even that is valid when you move to a new area. WIISE will help everyone thrive in their new homeland, integrate into everyday life, and settle into working life. So the brief for this logo design, I'll read this so that I get it completely right. We want WIISE to represent its members from the very beginning. So we want them to design a logo that represents the aims and values of WIISE, but from your perspective. Entries can be submitted by creative people from Finland or people from overseas. We don't mind. You do not need to be a member of WIISE to enter the competition. As I'm talking to you now, I think we've had one membership application. We're literally right at the very beginning, so being a member is not prerequisite. Your design idea can be submitted as a professionally designed digital file, or it can be drawn by hand with crayons. At this stage, it doesn't matter. The winning design will be converted into files that we can then use on a website, social media, in print, everywhere that we might want to use it. I think the key words when thinking about this design are integration, work, ecosystem, networking, and inclusive. They're kind of values that are important to WIISE. We have specific colours. It might be easier to look at the show notes accompanying this episode to see the specific hex tags for these colours, but we're using a green, blue, yellow and white, specific shades thereof, or suggest other colours. If you think that another colour better represents the aims of WIISE, then use those, but be sure to tell us why you've chosen these different colours. The entries should be submitted no later than Friday the 9th of October 2020. Entries can be submitted to me by email. That's mark.wiltshire.tmi@gmail.com, or you can send them by post to me. It's Mark Wiltshire, care of Export, XPORT, 3rd floor, Keskuskatu 10, 60100, Seinäjoki, and that will come to me, and I'll make sure that your entry is included. The winning design will be professionally converted into files, like I said before, that we can use to represent ourselves online, and we reserve the right, WIISE RU reserves the right to use the winning design in part or in whole to create the final version of the logo. There's a prize. I didn't mention the prize. The prize is €200, and the winner will be invited to take part in selected activities at the launch of WIISE. And the competition winner needs to agree that WIISE can use the winning design without any additional costs, apart from the €200 prize. So as is usual on podcasts, I'm going to ask you to rate and review this show. As always, I'll make it easier for you. Head over to ratethispodcast.com/Wiltshire, where you can leave a review as well as a rating for this podcast. Also, if you found this podcast useful, I found it useful because hopefully it's going to help me find someone to help us design a logo for WIISE, then feel free, buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Wiltshire. I do, after all, live in Finland, the country with the highest coffee consumption per person in the world. So what better way to show your appreciation than throwing me a few mockers? I fancy a mocha this week. Feel free to contact me. The email sent to mark.wiltshire.tmi@gmail.com will come directly to me, and I'll be sure to reply. And thanks, as ever, to Mark from the splendid Dodo Bones for the theme music. You'll find a link to their website, dodobones.co.uk, in the show notes. And that's it for now. If you're feeling creative, get your pens and pencils and crayons and paints out, and send your ideas for the logo. Visit WIISE.fi to see more details about this. And until the next episode, goodbye.